Mention the word witch and immediately what comes to mind. Apart from an image, what usually comes to mind? For most people, it's witchcraft, which is the practice of spells and magic. For many people, it's curses. For others, it's just magic in general. But witches have always been associated with spellcraft and with magic. People are generally attracted to witchcraft because they're wanting to learn how to do spells and magic. And other people are attracted to witchcraft because they're trying to seek out somebody who can do spells and magic on their behalf. Witchcraft and magic do come at a price. And in this video, I wanted to talk about what goes into a traditional spell crafting so that you have more of an understanding of what magic is. But before I go there, hi, I'm Sandra from mysterywitchschool.com. If you're new to the channel and you want to learn Wicca or witchcraft, hit the subscribe button and the notification bell so that you don't miss any videos. So part of Wicca is witchcraft or spell work. So Wicca, being a religion, is more than just working with spells and magic. It's also about connecting to self, spirit, God and goddess, and also connecting to the earth herself. Witchcraft is a practical element of Wicca, so it's the magical part of Wicca. And we're often attracted to Wicca in the first place because magic also has that alluring thing about it. Because we are creative beings, we're magical beings, and we're here to create. And magic is a wonderful way to create the world we want to create, so that it brings us that joy and that peace and just that empowered sense of self. But magic does come at a price. And by that price, I mean just simple things like anything else that we do or want. There's cost involved. And I'm not talking about the superstitious beliefs around magic. I'm talking more about the practical aspects of magic and what that costs. Now, when I'm talking about spells and magic in this video, I'm going to be talking particularly about more sympathetic magic or folk magic, as opposed to other styles of magic, just to be more specific. You know, there's other ways of doing magic. We've got, there's chaos magic, there's ceremonial magic, there's all different types of magic from different cultures. There's the law of attraction version of magic, and each and every one of those will have its own way of doing things. So I want to be specific that this is more about traditional folk magic, because I know I'm going to get people putting in the comments or saying, well, I didn't have to go to any of that trouble and, magic still works for me, which is great. But I'm talking about traditional spells and magic here, which is something a lot of us are attracted to simply because in sympathetic magic, we work a lot with the earth and we like to get into the earth, and sympathetic magic often works with a lot of herbs and things of the earth. So just making that clear. When I'm talking about the costs of magic, it's to help you understand your investment in it. So when you're doing a spell for yourself, you're investing time into yourself and into an outcome. If you're doing magic on behalf of somebody else, you're investing your time and energy to help another person. And you need to really understand that, because if you are seriously wanting to practice witchcraft, when people know that you are a witch, if it gets out, people are going to want you to do spell work for them. So you need to understand the value of what it is that you're doing and the time and the effort that it takes to do what you're doing, so that the other person knows that it comes at a price. The price is simply this. You have to put time into what you're doing. So that costs you time. You need to plan your spell. You need to know about witchcraft. So you need to know what herbs do what colors of candles perhaps to use if you're going to use color in your candle magic. All of these things you need to know. So you need to spend time learning this stuff. You probably also need to spend money learning this stuff, because there's books and all sorts of things that you're probably going to want to buy, particularly if you're working with herbs and gemstones, because there's a lot of them out there and they all have different things that they do. So you're going to need some kind of a reference for your correspondences. If you're working with the days of the week and some of the planetary influences, then you're also going to need to know what they are too. So there's a lot to know, and you're also going to have the materials to do your spell work. Because in folk magic or sympathetic magic, we don't just put pictures around the wall, like over a vision board or something, we don't just think about what it is that we're wanting to bring it in. With folk magic, we actually use things from the earth that correspond energetically to what it is we're trying to do magically. So that means we've got to spend money on either building an amazing herb garden or buying the herbs, buying the candles. So these things about magic can cost money, definitely costing time in your planning and your education and your effort, because you've got to actually then collect your materials, do the spell. This sort of thing, when you're doing spell work, can take a couple of hours of preparation, because you may need to look up different things. You may be needing to go and buy some herbs. You might be needing to do things that take time. So doing magic can take time. People don't understand this. If you're doing magic, especially for somebody else, it is harder because you don't know that person's circumstances. You don't know their mindset around what it is they're wanting you to do magic for. So you don't really know how they're blocking things. You need to take time to speak with that person, find out what they need, and then go to all of the effort and cost to actually go and do the spell for them. Now that's going to take your energy, because magic takes energy. Even if it's just a simple half-hour candle spell that you might be doing, you'll find that afterwards you can feel that you've had an energy drain. And even if you're just sitting there in front of your candle, focusing on your intention, doing some chanting, that actually takes more energy when you're working magic than you think it would. So it's taking energy that you need to replenish. If you're doing spell work, it can be a really quick on the fly thing, especially if you're very used to doing magic and you're doing it for yourself. You may find that you'll just whip out a candle and bang, you do your magic, and that might take you no longer than half an hour. But other times you find that you're actually prepping for your spell, thinking about it, and then actually putting that energy into doing it. And that can take a few hours of work. If you're doing magic for someone else, it could take up to 3 hours of work. Some spells take more than just one, they're more than a one-off. So you may be doing a spell over a long period of time. If you've got a big project, or you're trying to keep something running, then you may find that you need to do a series of spells over a long period of time to build something and get it up and running. So you're looking at a long-term plan, you're looking at putting in energy over and over in order to see that through to fruition. Magic is seen as just being a one-off thing. You know, oh, you can do a spell to help me get my boyfriend back, or you can do a spell to make me wealthy and famous. I get emails like this from people who want me to do magic for them, just assuming I've got nothing better to do with my time than magic all day for other people. I know nothing about them, who they are, and they want me to make them rich and wealthy. And it's like, the time and effort I would have to put in to make myself rich and wealthy is not something I'm even willing to do. So why would I do that for someone else? That's a lot of time and a lot of effort and a lot of magic. Believe me, it's not a simple candle spell that's going to make you rich and wealthy. You have to put in effort, not just in your spell work, but in your everyday action thereafter to follow up in the real world on the things that you need to do to help you become rich and wealthy. But we have in our minds this idea that magic's just this one-off, instant thing. It's going to fix everything, and we'll just go find a witch and they'll do it for us for nothing. It isn't like that. It really isn't like that. It is something that is part of any type of action that you'll take if you're doing a project. If you are working on an arts project, some sort of creative project, you know you've got to allot time for it, you've got to have energy for it, and you've got to take action in the real world to make it happen. And magic is the same. You'll do or put your effort into doing the spell, so it may be half an hour, a couple of hours, depending on what the spell's involved. It may be something you repeat over a period of days. So you're putting in more time involved and energy and effort. Then you've actually got to go in the real world and do the actions that are required of you in the real world to allow the magic to filter through. So for example, if you're looking for a career, if you're wanting to move up the ladder in your career, not only are you needing to do spell work for that, but you may need to go back and do some more education for that. So that's a real world activity. You're going to have to put yourself out there and market yourself to the world to show people, you know, who you are and what you're capable of. And that's just mundane, everyday action. Your mindset around your ability to be able to be in that position has to also be there to follow it up. So there's a lot involved in success in magic. And I think a lot of people don't understand that, because I do get a lot of people asking me for things that I just go back to them and say, look, this is a big thing. You're poor and you've never ever earned a penny or much in your life, and you're wanting to become a millionaire, and you want me to do a spell. If every witch, if that's all it took to become a millionaire, I think every witch on the planet would be a millionaire. It's understanding that these things take time and take effort. So when you're doing spell work for yourself or spell work for somebody else, you all need to understand that there is a cost involved with magic. The same cost as involved in anything that you undertake. The cost of looking for a job, the cost of building a business, the cost of being an artist. There are costs involved. And magic isn't any different. It is serious business. It's something that should be part of our lives and part of our planning when we're planning the things that we're going to do in our lives, and not seen as a simple fix-it thing or a simple one-off thing that's just going to fix everything. All else has failed, I'm going to do a spell and it's going to fix it. It doesn't work like that. There's more to it than that. And that's one of the reasons why I created the Spellcaster Checklist, which is a free PDF that you can download. The link to that is in the description field below this video. I created that so that you can go through and look at the things you need to consider when you're constructing a spell. So it doesn't give you information about particular spells. It just gives you things to think about when you're planning a project, a magical project. So do download that if you haven't already. If you like this video, hit the like button, share it with your friends, share some of your experiences with magic, maybe some of your successes and your failures. What is the first thing you think of when you hear the word witch, for example? What comes to your mind when you hear the word witch? What do you associate with the word witch? Don't forget to subscribe. I'm Sandra from mysterywitchschool.com, and I'll see you on the next video. Blessed be.